Morning, morning! I'm excited because it's new bike day! So I had a new gravel bike sent over by Marin. It's the new Headlands, but it came set up with the wrong group set. So what I've had to do is completely strip everything off my old blue and orange Headlands. You know, the really pretty one. I've had to take all the zip and SRAM parts off that and then bit by bit transfer them over to the new Headlands, which is behind me. I've been building it up throughout the week, doing bits and pieces whenever I've had a chance to do it, in between looking after my daughter, other work, etc, etc. The one thing I couldn't do was bleed the brakes, so I popped over to see my friend Dan earlier this week and he did the brakes. But since then I've been doing bits and bobs. Today I just fitted the chain and make sure that the B-gap was all set, everything like that. So I'll tell you more about the process of building bikes and working on your own stuff and how I've learned how to do all that whilst I go for a ride. Also, I will show you the new bike. Yay! Look at this gravel track. It's just amazing. You know, when people are like, we don't have gravel in England, I beg to differ. Bike seems to be running pretty well. Need to micro adjust the gears a little bit, but that's really easy because it's SRAM axis, so you just press and hold a tiny button on the lever and that really finely adjusts it, so it's nice and smooth. Anyway, there's a fun little trail down here, so I'm gonna have a quick shred and then I'll tell you more about the bike and how I learned to build bikes. Ooh, wasn't expecting that. I can get up it. Well, that was fun. You catch my breath, show you the bike. Need a handy log pile. I probably should have filmed this before I got it all covered in mud, but I was too busy having fun, so sorry about that. So it's a Marin Headlands carbon frame. This is their new colourway. I actually really like the orange and blue one, but this one's nice too, and it's very kind of them to send it to me, so thank you, Marin. Probably looks quite familiar if you've been watching my videos for a while, because I actually took quite a lot of the parts off my old bike and swapped them onto this bike. I've also taken the SRAM Eagle cassette off my brown flat bar gravel bike because it's a really nice cassette and it was in much better condition than the one I was taking off my old gravel race bike. So I've whacked that on. I also had to pinch the chain off the brown gravel bike. Did you know that 12-speed chains are in such demand that when I phoned the local bike shop to try and buy a new one, they told me they weren't getting any until September. I've got my lovely Zip 303 wheels on here. I've been running these for ages. I'm actually getting the hubs serviced on Friday. I did service the wheels on my other bike, on my road bike myself, but I just haven't got time to do it this time. They are coupled with 44C WTB Radler tyres. As I mentioned, I've got a SRAM Eagle cassette. That's 10 to 50. Is it 11 to 50? 10 to 50. 10 to 50. Massive range, and that's a mountain bike cassette coupled with a road crank at the front and road shifters. So that's called the mullet configuration because it's meant to be business at the front and party at the back. I don't know who came up with that, but anyway. I have got a Quark power meter installed in the crank. That's super cool. Just some Look, X-Track, I think these are carbon pedals. I've got a SL70 carbon seat post from Zip with my favourite Brooks saddle on there. That's the C13 with a cutout. I find that really comfortable. Up the front, I have got obviously the SRAM wireless shifters. That's why there's only 2 cables coming out of the front, because those are the brake cables. The shifting is wireless, it's SRAM axis, electronics, super amazing, really cool, love that. I have got the the Zip SL70 Explore bars. So they are flared. They're quite wide at the top for me, 42 centimetre, which I like on my gravel bike for a bit more control and a bit more comfort also. And then they're flared at the bottom, which is great if you're using bike packing bags because you can fit them in quite easily and still shift. I've got the Redshift suspension stem on here. I've had that on for a while. It's slightly heavier, well, it's quite a bit heavier than my other stem, but it gives you a nice bit of extra cushioning. I've got it cranked up with some quite hard elastomers in there, so actually it's not got much sag, it's just a little bit, which takes the edge off some of the rougher sections. I think that's it. So I'm going to do a bit more riding, and then, as I mentioned earlier, tell you about the bike mechanics stuff. Yeah, I'm going to do some more riding. I've just noticed it's called Willie, so I figured I'd call that out before anyone else does. So, people have been asking, figured I'd tell you how I learned to fix my own bike, work on my own bike, do bike mechanics. It all started with the first bike I ever really loved, the bike that made me fall in love with cycling. I built my own fixed gear bike from an abandoned road frame with parts I'd begged and borrowed and bought from various people, and I knew nothing about bikes, but fixed gear bikes are fairly simple, so it's a good place to start. And basically I did one problem at a time. You know, I'd try and change one part, and if I encountered any trouble with that part, I'd go on a forum, the London Fixed Gear and Single Speed Forum, and I'd search for answers. And if I couldn't find an answer, then I'd ask a question. This was before everyone looked on YouTube. Anyway, eventually I managed to build that fixed gear bike all by myself, and fell in love with cycling, and I guess fell in love with fixing and building bikes. So since then, obviously, I've started riding all kinds of different bikes, and I've had to learn a lot of new stuff. But basically, I do it the same way. I just do one component or one problem at a time, and if I can't do it, I Google it, I go on YouTube, or I ask friends. If I can't do it, I might take it to a friend's house and then I'll watch whilst they do it. But a lot of it is YouTube how-tos. It's such a good way of learning, and as long as you're careful, you can try stuff out and not completely destroy stuff if you get it wrong. So, well, there's some people coming. B, try working on your own bike. Get some advice, get a lesson if you want one, or do a YouTube tutorial, and just try it, because I didn't know how to do it before I knew how to do it. You just got to give it a whirl, right? So, yeah, don't be scared. Just try not to thread anything, as in, if something won't do up properly and nicely first time, don't keep really grinding the screw in, because you'll thread whatever it is you're screwing it into, and there's no coming back from that. I don't actually know where I am. I'm so busy chatting to you. So I'm going to say goodbye, because I want to finish my ride, get home in time to pick up my daughter, and then maybe go to the seaside or something, or paddleboarding or swimming. It's just such a nice day today, so I want to make the most of it. Hope you're doing well, and do leave me any questions or comments about how you're doing well. Do leave me any questions about working on your own bike. Let me know how you do it, if you like doing it and stuff like that. Always nice to hear from you, and please give me a sub. Really appreciate that, and it just takes absolutely no effort from you at all. So give me a sub if you can, and I'll be forever grateful. Bye.